You don't encounter normal people,
Yeah.
in your day to day?
Nope, only tens. Tens across the board.
Only tens.
Everybody's a 10 back then.
Yeah.
We do not keep anything out. Make sure that you do come into that knowing that there's always going to be a spoiler. Watch with us so it's not a spoiler to you.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the fifth episode of 2Chicks 2Cents. This is a very special episode because we are talking about the TV show that we've been watching this whole season up to this point. If you are new here, Delilah and we just casually chat about movies and TV shows. And lucky for you, this week we are talking about a TV show.
This week's episode, we are talking about the show Knight Rider. If you missed last week's episode, we talked about the movie Hook. If you'd love to see that, all the links are going to be down below for you like they always are. Let's get into our description of the TV show Knight Rider.
In the 1982 series Knight Rider, former police officer Michael Knight becomes the hero in a fight against crime with the help of KITT, an advanced artificial intelligence supercar. Equipped with high-tech gadgets, KITT is nearly indestructible and can think, talk, and act on his own. Together, Michael and KITT take on the dangerous missions to bring justice to those in need. With thrilling chases, high-stake actions, and futuristic twists, Knight Rider is a fast-paced adventure where man and machine team up to fight crime and save the day.
So, Delilah, let's get into our ratings first. And this time, I want to know why you rated it the way you rated it. I want to know, like, if there's a bunch of stars, why so many? If there's so few, why so few? So, what is your rating of Knight Rider?
Shit. Okay, so this is hard. I think that the show Knight Rider just did a big thing for our podcast. I think that it showed us the kind of shows that we need to put on here for us to give them decent reviews. Just because I don't think that this was a good show for our podcast because it's not like a binge show. If that makes sense. Like there's no bigger story. It's just a bunch of episodes with fun stories. Like that's cool. But like each episode you don't need to watch the last episode to understand what's going on. There is a small big picture, but you figured out that big picture in your first two episodes, and that's it. You never really hear too much about like how he became Knight Rider and all that stuff anymore. You could watch any random episode in this show and you will understand what's going on and you'll have a good time. It's a good show, especially for the time that it was made. But definitely for our podcast, for binging it, for watching it in 2024, this show got maybe like a 3 or a 4 for me. The episodes are so long. Each episode is like an hour, and it's not an action-packed hour. It's just like them talking, him being a hoe.
Yeah.
Every single episode, like I swear, like we should do a compilation of every single girl because every single episode he's with some girl. Like,
and he's making promises like that he'll come back.
Yeah, and it's like you're not visiting each one of these girls again. You're not. So I honestly, the show is a 3.5 for me, and I have no desire to watch the rest of the seasons.
Yeah.
Maybe over time I could do that, like, but never. It's not a binge worthy show, and
right.
There is no big story that I'm like so interested in.
Yeah. I gave it a 5. I think I was generous with that 5 because I did have feelings of like a 2. Like I just wanted to escape. I was incredibly bored. I would rather do homework I would rather do the dishes. Like I really wanted to escape like while I was watching this show. But
It's so sad.
the reason the reason I gave it a 5 was I think I'm just not their target market. You know, I feel like this was a movie made by stunt drivers for stunt drivers. You know, I feel like that
Yes.
was what it was. And some of the stuff was cool, but then it got really repetitive. They kept doing kind of the same, you know, jumps or like, you know, go off to the side, which I did look that up. I was like, can a car really drive on two wheels like that? Because it kind of looks like they're just like, you know, using some wires and holding it up there. But
Yeah.
you can actually do that. I looked it up. It's called skiing. Yeah. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool, actually. But
there's an episode where he infiltrates like they do like fun tricks and stuff, and they're teaching him, even though he already knows how to do that stuff, for him to go work with them so he can figure out who the bad guy is, blah blah blah. And they're like, oh yeah, skiing and all this shit, teaching him tricks. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
yeah. Well, so like with the 5 though, I like I said, I feel like I was just not their target market. I felt like for that time, it was probably a lot cooler. And it's funny because like recently at work, a friend wanted to watch a movie for like my last day there. And I was like, well, like, let's pick something from the 80s and 90s to go with my podcast. And he picked Smokey and the Bandit. Have you seen that, Delilah?
No clue what that even is.
I don't think you'd like it. If you didn't like this, you wouldn't like it. A lot of just driving, and it was another Trans Am. It came out in the 70s, the late 70s, like 77, and they actually referenced it in this TV show, and it's the same kind of car. Like, so I feel like around that time, everybody was in awe of what this car can do, and it was just really fun, and everybody was into what's his name? David Hasselhoff. Yeah, he was like really popular in that time. So I think a lot of people watched it for that. So it didn't really hit me like that. There are some timeless classics, and we've actually reviewed quite a few of those in our podcast. But this one, I think, definitely expired.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
There are some movies, some shows that like it doesn't matter how much time goes by, they're gonna hit every single time. And
exactly.
At least for me, this one is not one of those, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
It's just like because every single episode is David's chilling. They tell him, go save this small town. He goes there. Everybody in the small town is corrupt besides the one single lady. He gets with the lady. He doesn't listen to the car. He gets in a tight spot. The car saves him. And then he rides off into the sunset with a girl.
Yep.
Every single
episode.
And
how many did you watch?
I remember I've watched, okay, so the season is 22 episodes. I watched like 15 of them.
Wow.
I'm not gonna lie to you and say that I watched all of them, but of course it was like on and I'm like doing other things because it was not holding my attention. And yeah,
I started it, and I started at a point in my week where I was insanely busy and I just couldn't do it. So I stopped. I didn't watch it. And then it was like the last 2 days and I'm like, I have to know what this is about. So, and I already was turned off because I was like, oh, I'm not interested. And then but then I powered through the last 2 days and I watched 7 episodes. I made it through 7 episodes.
The episodes are so incredibly long, guys. Like, they're so incredibly long. And not much is happening.
Yeah.
And
it's a lot of driving and music.
Yeah.
And
I got to like the 13th episode and I was like, okay, I cannot do this anymore. So then I started reading what the episodes were about. And if they had anything to do with his backstory, then I was like, okay, let me watch that. Let me watch that. And let me watch the last one. And I was like, I'm good. I know everything that happened. I'm so like the original story is really great. He is a cop. He gets murdered, but he has a plate in his head. So, oh my god. So they shoot him in the head, but he's got a plate in his head. So the bullet ricochets out of the other side of his head. They give him a face transplant, no scars. no incision marks, nothing. All of a sudden he's even more handsome,
And he doesn't
and now
even
he's
look
just a
that
man with,
different.
yeah, now he's a man with no identity, so he can go and be Batman, basically. That's like, honestly, that's what it was giving me. It was giving me boring Batman vibes because he was backed by a rich, like, man or whatever, and he's got a cool car and he's fighting crime. And I was just like, you could be a little bit better at this. And then also, I felt like over time, it was starting to annoy me that, like, he's so sassy and he never wants to listen to the car, and the car is always right. And I'm just like, could you just get your head out of your ass and just do what they're saying? You're gonna end up in a tight spot because you don't listen. I was like, just listen.
Yeah, that first episode, I
Um,
did think it was funny that I kind of felt bad for whoever played the pre-David Hasselhoff character, Michael or
oh yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, he was there for like 2 seconds. I don't even remember what he looked like. I did notice in the very
Yep.
opening scene, like his hair, I was like, wow, his hair looks like David's. I was like, where is he going to be in the scene? You know, I was like kind of looking around, and because of that, I wasn't paying attention to him very much. And then
Oh
like there
yeah.
was that moment where his partner gets shot and he tells the girl to like stay with him, and she's like, no, I'm coming with you. I'm like, and they just automatically are like, this guy's dead. I'm like, he's probably just passed out. Like, call an ambulance, somebody,
Yep.
you know.
That's
And
what
then he's all like
always.
gung-ho, he's all gung-ho about like, you killed my partner,
Yep.
you know.
They're always forever leaving someone, and like, I'm like, that person probably needed an ambulance, or they needed you to apply pressure. Like,
Apply pressure.
I probably, if you just did that, they wouldn't have died. They wouldn't
Yeah.
have.
There have been stories even in war. Someone's been shot in the head and they applied pressure and he survived. Not only did he survive, he wasn't like brain dead or anything. He was like a normal functioning human being. And I'm like, people need to know this. Like, someone gets
Just
shot out there,
apply
like
pressure.
apply pressure.
Call the cops. Call the ambulance and apply pressure. Damn.
Yes. Yes, seriously.
That was like, I just feel like this is not a binge worthy show. And so if you were just tuning in randomly, watching an episode here or there, you're like, oh, this is so fun, so nostalgic, like, cool, that's how they did it back in the day, no big. But for trying to binge this show, which, like, is, we film these episodes a week, and if we don't watch it, you don't want to watch it too soon, because then I'm not going to remember everything that I want to tell you guys. I'm not going to have like a good reaction. So to binge this show, absolutely not.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
David Hasselhoff, he's cool. I do think if they remade this show now, it could be something. It could be something because it would entail a lot more, and there probably would be a bigger story. I don't
Yeah.
know. I think you're right. We are not the target audience for this. Maybe if we were watching it, when did it come out again?
82.
I think maybe if we were watching it this is one of the ones you need to be watching it in 1982 for sure. Sorry for any Knight Rider
Fans.
loves. I was telling my family that's what I was watching, and my dad was like, "Oh, a great show," and I was just like, "Oh, I feel bad because I did not agree."
Well, I am
And
curious. I am curious to those people, to any of you out there who is a huge Knight Rider fan, rewatch it. Rewatch it today or in this time period in 2024 or beyond,
watch
and
3 episodes.
let us know, is it still as good? Do you still have the same opinions as when you first watched it? Yeah, that's my
Because I
question.
remember watching this show with my grandma, rest in peace. I remember watching this show as a kid, and she loved it, and I was like, oh, that was cool, like, and I just remember it being way more exciting than it was right now. I honestly don't have too much to say about Knight Rider. It is
Either.
super cool concept. I think it was great in 1982, and just, it was great in the 1900s. I don't think that it translated into the now.
2000s. Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
that is it.
I
I
agree.
think the original like concept of the show was great, and I think if they did more with that, if they did more with him being like a no named person and like he was wronged and they took longer to like solve his case and everything, or like if they had him infiltrating like an area of people that knew him and all that stuff, that would be more fun because you know he's not trying to let them figure out who he is and everything. But for him to be a guy with no identity anymore, and he right away solved his own crime and put those people in jail, and then he's just going to these random small towns that don't know him for nothing. It's like you could have been your regular self to do that. Like you didn't have to be this
Yeah.
no named person. Like, and then he like he would in one breath say it's a secret that the car is like super intelligent and all that, and then the next breath he's telling every single lady that he gets with that the
Yes.
car is intelligent, and he talks like
Back to what you were talking about with him being Michael Knight or versus his old self. So with that, I thought it was interesting because in that first episode, he was like so distraught about, he's like, this
yeah.
isn't me. This isn't my face. And then it was like he never looked back, and he was just
Never
this
looked
new
back.
person. He was cheerful, giddy, all into himself, feeling himself. He never went back to his old name. He never referenced
Never went
anything
back
of
to
his
check on
past
any of his
life.
past family or friends or anything. And there is one episode in the end where he has to save like his ex fiance or something like that. I'm like, you have a fiance that you left and you never checked in on her or anything. Like
And we didn't know about it. Him having a fiance, like even in like the first episode when he's getting with that new girl, he'd be like, well, I was just in a relationship too, or I lost somebody I loved, or I don't know. He could have mentioned it. So I'm sure the writers just didn't think
He could
about it till
mention
later,
it.
and they thought it would be a nice little spruce.
I think they just like were like he's a cool guy, like all the ladies love him. He's got a
Yeah,
cool car, and
really.
that's all you really needed back then. And you know, not we, but people just dealt with like sexist crap, and um that was just more of a thing.
Yeah.
than now, you know.
I thought it was funny how every single woman in every episode was like really pretty.
Yeah.
It's like you don't encounter normal people,
Yeah.
in your day to day.
Nope, only tens across the board.
Only tens.
Everybody's a 10 back then.
Yeah. I don't have anything else to say, do you?
I have nothing else left to say. Definitely check out Knight Rider if you just need something to be on, like in your background. Don't binge it, but check out an episode or two. You know, good for David Hasselhoff. I understand why he was a heartthrob, and I understand why he was as popular as he was. Like, good for him.
Did you know he's like 6'4", 6'5", something like that?
I mean, I could tell from the show.
Yeah. I looked it up because he was like towering over the girl.
Yeah.
And I was like, either she's really short or he's really tall. So I looked
really
it up.
tall.
Yeah.
For that time, great. Kudos, good job. On to the next.
Yes. All right. Yes. Now it's time for
Make it make sense. Let's talk about our movies. If you are new here or if you forgot, we have our new segment, Make It Make Sense, where we do 30-second reviews of different movies that you guys have suggested to us because we have so many suggestions and we love that so much. This week, I'm going to be talking about the movie Evil Dead, and Tiffany's talking about The Matrix.
Yes, The Matrix. I actually forgot to watch Evil Dead with you.
It's all good.
Completely forgot.
Okay, so we are going to get into Tiffany's 30-second review. You're going to tell us about The Matrix now.
Okay, so The Matrix is my favorite movie ever, in case you missed that. I would give it a 10 out of 10 for my own opinion, but I have to be fair with the content and all of that. So I'd say 8 out of 10. I think that there were some story inconsistencies or like not plot holes, but like just things that don't make sense. And so for that reason, I took off a couple stars. But to me personally, 10 out of 10. And it was like...
You're done. You're done. You're
okay.
done. 10 out of 10.
All right. So now it's Delilah's turn. I'm very, very excited to hear about Evil Dead since Delilah hates horror movies. So ready, set, go.
I give this movie a 3 or a 4 out of 10. This was not my week for movies or shows. It's about these kids that go into the woods and they proceed to die. That's about it. There's like an evil force or something, and instead of leaving, they just stay there and think that they can do something about it. I did not like this at all. Horrible. I don't think they did a good job. No, thank you. I'm done.
All right. And stop. That is our very first 30-second review where we did not use 30 seconds.
I did not need 30 seconds to tell y'all I did not like it. I did not like it. And also, I'm not a horror fan person, but this movie wasn't even horror to me, and it wasn't scary. And I didn't. There was just so many like plot holes or things that they could have done to get out of that situation, or at least like pretend to do, so then like the movie could be more. I really didn't like it. I really did not like it, and I don't think that it did its job. And it's classified as a horror comedy. Nothing made me laugh or chuckle. I don't understand why whenever they were killing each other, like whenever they were possessed, and then they're okay, we gotta hack them up or whatever so that they will like stay dead. When they're doing that, or if they stab them, like milk was coming out. It was like milk, and then it would turn into blood. It was white milk. I know that this, I think, the story of like making this, I know the guy only made it with like $100,000 or something, and he asked his friends and family, and the movie's like cult classic and all that, and people love it. And I don't know how the other ones are, because I know that there are a couple other movies, but this first one did not do it for me. Do you have anything to tell us about The Matrix?
The Matrix. I mean, not a whole lot. I feel like for me it's pretty self-explanatory. I just like all the cool stuff that happens, you know? I think they did a really good job of setting things up. The things that I noticed were really inconsistent were the agents in the very, very, very opening scene. Like, it's Trinity's up in the room and the cops are there, and then the agents show up in cars, but they can just like jump into different people's bodies. And their agents are up there and she's like killing them, but they could totally just jump into their bodies. You know, like I know that they hadn't explained that yet. And they really wanted a cool intro. I just thought it was funny that they didn't take that into consideration and didn't think it was important or that anyone would notice. And maybe nobody did notice, you know, or not a lot of people till later. But it's still a cool scene, so it doesn't bother me. And then the other thing that I always laugh at is when they're rescuing him, which is my favorite part. They're rescuing Morpheus, and they're in that building. They hop in the helicopter, and they come down, and he's got this huge Gatling gun, and he's just, like, swinging it around to kill these agents. But Morpheus is right in the middle, and he's, like, not even aiming, you know? And so I always think that's funny that they don't hit him. So that's the other.
Yeah. It's, you know, cheesy. He's got to make it.
Yeah. He's got to. Yeah.
That's
the
funny.
rules work differently when Neo is doing it. So maybe Neo just could control where the bullets went. And yeah. That's all I have to say about The Matrix.
And that's all I have to say about Evil Dead.
Yeah. And since we are very limited on time today, we are going to jump right into our drawings, and we have quite a few. Yes. We have TV show drawing, we have our next week movie drawing, we have both of our Make It Make Sense drawings. So yeah, you go ahead.
Yes, let's do, we have a lot. Okay, so let's do our next show first.
Yep.
Let's see.
This will be for episode 10.
Our next TV show, yes, that we will be watching is going to be, I forgot we had so many drawings. Dinosaurs, 1991.
Yay! I picked this one.
Hopefully this show does better.
Yes.
We will see.
Yes.
That's funny that we picked both of your picks and none of mine.
Yeah, which is how it was last season, right? We got both of yours and none of mine. Which those
Who
were
knows?
good.
Maybe this season will be longer. I picked good shows. Okay, let's get into our Make It Make Sense drawings. Yes, I like this. Make It Make Sense drawings, the movies that Tiffany and I are going to watch separately for our 30-second reviews. That's what we're going to draw for right now. And last week I drew for Tiffany first, so let's draw for me first. I am going to be watching Three Amigos.
I love
Angelina.
This is a family favorite.
Is this like a Three Musketeers?
No.
Oh, okay. I don't know what this is.
Oh my god,
How
I'm so
exciting.
happy. Okay.
And then you are going to be watching Poltergeist.
Oh.
1982.
All right.
I've never seen that either.
Yeah, it's...
I've seen a lot of 80s and 90s movies, but why am I picking everything I've never seen?
You should watch it with me. It's okay, so it's in the horror movie category, but it's not scary,
Oh, okay.
in my opinion.
Alrighty. Our last drawing, what our whole podcast next week will be about, is going to come from our picks. It is our turn. Let's see.
It sucks that I can't see it anymore.
I know. We had to change how we're filming, a lot of reasons. So
Yes, mainly
We'll
Instagram screwed us, so
yes,
we're very upset about this.
we are going to be watching Gremlins,
Yay!
1984. How exciting! I put it in.
Yeah.
How exciting! Okay. And who knows, this season is going so well, maybe it'll go a little bit longer just so we can get through everything.
Yeah.
Who knows? But so, in case you missed it, we are watching Dinosaurs. That's the show that we're going to be watching. And then next week, our Make It Make Sense episode, or little short, is going to be, I'm watching Three Amigos, Tiffany's watching Poltergeist, and our podcast is going to be about the movie Gremlins.
Yes. Also, real quick, Delilah, have you seen Dinosaurs?
I know that I've seen it like when I was younger. I can picture the dinosaur and everything in the family, but I couldn't tell you what it was about. I think just a family of dinosaurs, right?
I haven't seen it either. I do remember, like, as a little kid, and I remember liking it, but that's absolutely all I remember. So, yeah, it's kind of like that
so
for
funny.
me.
Well, it's gonna be good then.
Yeah, I agree.
That's so funny.
I'm very excited. Cool. Anyway, well, that's all we have time for today, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully we see you next week. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and yeah.
Let us know your opinions if you watch Knight Rider.
Yes.
And if you have any suggestions of movies or shows for us to watch, please leave them in the comments on any of our socials.
Yes.
And we will add it in.
Yes, absolutely. We definitely want to hear from you. Bye.
Bye.